Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hoover, AllSooners, along with Ryan Chapman, Randall Sweet. We made it to another Brent Venables press conference, barely for me. Got in at the last couple of minutes. Man, a lot going on today. And what is it going on? It's Cincinnati. It's Oklahoma's first, really their true road game, okay? The first true road game. They're going on the road this week to Cincinnati, to, should I say, Big 12 opponent, Big 12 rival Cincinnati. Who would have ever thought that, right? It's weird times in college football. But Brent talked a lot today about the Cincinnati Bearcats. They're 2-1 on the season. Sooners, of course, going up there 3-0 after the 66-17 beatdown of Tulsa last week. Well, here we go. It's Big 12 play, guys. No more non-conference play. Brent Venables talks today a lot about having a healthy respect for Cincinnati, and especially Cincinnati at Nippert Stadium.
Yeah, Hoove, you may not have a lot of respect for H.A. Chapman Stadium, but Brent Venables said it's going to be raucous. He's pointed out a couple of times throughout this press conference that the Bearcats have lost 2 games over the last 5 years at home. Last week was one of them to Miami of Ohio. Last year to a Tulane team that, as we know, ended the season with a Cotton Bowl victory over USC. And not just the atmosphere that's going to be facing Oklahoma, but it's going to be some big boy football. Brent Venables talked about the battle in the trenches, and I think everyone has their eyes laser focused on Dante Corleone, the All-American caliber defensive lineman. He's not the only talented guy. He's going to lead the way, as it's a Cincinnati defensive line. It's going to be a big test for a new, pretty young Oklahoma offensive line.
You know, we're on the OU campus when it's 1 o'clock and the bells are chiming. It's behind us. It's a beautiful sound. They're playing the Oklahoma theme song, right? The state song of Oklahoma. Rodgers and Hammerstein is chiming behind us as we try to get Oklahoma on the road in a college football game. Some bad news come out of the press conference today, Randall. Some injury situations, a couple of surprising injury situations. One that we kind of looked at in practice, and I wondered what it was, and it turns out it's pretty serious.
Yeah, Brent Venables told us today that Jaden Rowe, redshirt freshman defensive back, and true freshman linebacker Phil Picciotti will miss the rest of the season. They'll have season-ending surgery. Now, those two guys, they haven't actually contributed any statistics this season, but they are depth players that, we've heard the term competitive depth all off-season. Those guys definitely add to that. I mean, Jaden Rowe's a big body in the defensive back room. Phil Picciotti, a young linebacker. So, of course, wish for the best for those two guys, but they will miss the rest of the season. Venables also said that with Justin Harrington, they're kind of seeking options, kind of to determine what's going on, what's going to be the course of action with him. He didn't play on Saturday against Tulsa. He was walking around with a pretty heavy knee brace on before the game in street clothes. It seems like that might be a somewhat serious knee injury. Again, we don't know anything for sure. We haven't heard from Venables or any other coaches, but just looking at him and that knee brace, it doesn't seem like. And again, the fact that they're searching for options doesn't seem like he'll be able to play for at least a while. But Venables did say that he was hopeful for Savion Byrd. He said he was hopeful for Reggie Pearson. He said he was hopeful for Josiah Wagner. And he also said he was hopeful for Desan McCullough. Those are guys who are big contributors on the defense. If the Sooners could get them back this week, in the coming weeks, as obviously Cincinnati this week, and then looking ahead, Iowa State, and then Texas, a big matchup in a few weeks, they could use some of those mainstays on the defense back.
A couple of quick observations. The reference that I made after practice last week was watching as Jaden Rowe walked off the field. He was limping pretty bad, and it looked like he was favoring his groin or his hip or something in that area. He was really struggling just to walk. And we were standing there waiting for interviews to start, so practice was over, but he was walking off the field, and it was hurting him pretty bad. So you hate that for him. And as far as Justin Harrington, guys, that's just rough. That's just rough. And if he came to Oklahoma as a junior college kid, had hurt his knee in JUCO and didn't really realize it, got here and they said, bro, you need surgery. You need to get that cleaned up. So he missed his whole first season. Now he's might miss his whole last season, which is awful because he was playing so well and was contributing. He was had grown as such a leader on the team. So that's tough news for him. When you say exploring options, partially torn, play through it, see how long you can go, rehab for a couple of weeks and see if you're strong enough to play against Texas. Who knows what the options are? Have surgery, end the surgery, and start prepping for your pro career. Another option might be to take or apply for, you never know what the NCAA is going to do, but apply for what would be for him, I think, a 7th year of NCAA eligibility, apply for a medical red shirt, so we don't know. Let's refresh on some personnel, Cincinnati personnel. Dante Corleone, the godfather at defensive tackle. The guy is really good. He's an All-American. He's a first-team All-American candidate. He's one of the best in the country. He's going to be a first-round pick, most likely. He's got a guy next to him, Jawan Briggs, who's a first-team AAC, All-American Athletic Conference. They're extremely good up front. This is Ryan, this is a priority for Oklahoma. They're going into this thing, Ryan, with a freshman rotating in at guard, rotating in, possibly starting at left guard.
Yeah, Savion Byrd exited that game against Tulsa pretty early on, and you saw the first guy in after that. It wasn't Troy Everett who was rotated in. Troy Everett did play at left guard, but it was Caden Green. We talked to him last night, Monday night after practice, and he basically said, yeah, last Monday, a week ago, Tulsa week, Bill Bedenbaugh called him into his office and said, we need you to bump over to guard. He said, yes, sir, and has been preparing ever since. So we saw Caden Green get a little bit of action, but he mentioned at guard, it's a different speed. Everything comes at you quicker. You've got an extra half second at tackle. Well, it's a different speed when Briggs and Corleone are running at you, and the talent that's on that defensive line. If Caden Green rolls out there, he's the highest rated recruit that Bill Bedenbaugh's ever landed. He's a mammoth of a person. But that will be a test that Cincinnati, you guarantee they'll be circling, say, true freshman, first road game. Let's see what's up there. So if Savion Byrd's not able to go the distance or go at all, Caden Green might play, might get the start there. And then you got Troy Everett, who a little less worried about the environment. He went to Kyle Field last year with Appalachian State and had no problem. But still, a strong test in the trenches. Brent Venables said it's going to be a battle won in the trenches on Saturday.
Another quick refresher for you guys. Emory Jones is the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bearcats. Emory Jones, you might have heard of him, played against Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl back in 2020, came off the bench after Kyle Trask threw 3 interceptions in the first quarter. Emory Jones came in and led the team in rushing, 60 yards rushing with a touchdown, also threw for 86 yards. Very talented young man back then. He is a dual threat this time, and we all know how difficult it is to corral a dual threat quarterback. So we saw a little bit of that last week. Got a warm up with the University of Tulsa when they brought Cardell Williams in off the bench. He kind of lit things up for a little while. So just saying, this is going to be an interesting game. It's going to be our first true road game. We're going to have to fly out on Friday, come back on Sunday, all that good stuff. We're going to be there, boots on the ground at Nippert Stadium. We're going to be infesting Cincinnati, the Queen City. Beautiful city, lovely people, great food. We'll be there for the last 3 days of the week. And we're going to be here with you at AllSooners as well throughout press conferences, player interviews, analysis, columns, breaking news stories. We got it all at allsooners.com. Keep it right here for Ryan Chapman, for Randall Sweet. I'm John Hoover. See you guys.